Hello, and welcome to the TCDI Ultimatum learning series on generative AI. We're so glad that you could join us. This is the first discussion in a series of discussions that we plan on having. We welcome your comments and questions. We want to address your questions even more than our own. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we can cover whatever you want in an upcoming session. So I'm David Gaskey. I'm with Altumatim. I have with me Caragh Landry of TCDI and Mahavishnu of Altumatim. And we are going to just be talking today generally about what is generative AI at a high level. And then we're going to turn the discussion toward why should I care? So having some understanding of what it is, and then getting some sense or some feel for why does it matter. So I'll start us off. So generative AI is a form of machine learning. I mean, if you look at artificial intelligence as a field of endeavor, more so than a specific technology, that field has a lot of subcategories within it. And one of the broader fields is machine learning. Machine learning is for things like pattern recognition and predictions that computers can make. For example, if you are a subscriber to Netflix or another streaming service, the suggestions that you see on the screen are based on machine learning algorithms. It looks at what you have watched, if you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, takes those things into account, finds patterns, and then makes suggestions for what you might want to watch next. If you go beyond machine learning a little deeper, there's what's called deep learning. Deep learning you can think of it as a network. They technically call them neural networks because it's modeled after the human brain. It's a network of decision layers. And what deep learning does beyond just machine learning is it can look at things in hierarchical relationships. So if you've ever interacted with Siri or Alexa, you've actually interacted with a deep learning system because deep learning is what's used there. Generative AI is a specific type of deep learning. A big difference between generative AI that we are all accustomed to now compared to other machine learning is you don't have to do the training. Machine learning, you typically train the computer to recognize the patterns you want it to know, and then you use it. With generative AI, all that training has been done for us. Large language models have been pre-trained on billions of data points. They call them parameters. And we are able to then just immediately interact with the model, like ask it a question and get an answer based on the information that it's already had. So there's a lot of uses that come out of generative AI. And some of those have definitely popped up in the legal profession.
And David, exactly what you just covered is what I hoped I hoped that would be the message we would get across in this first session. Is machine learning. We've used that Netflix example in legal for about 10 years now, trying to explain to everybody how technology assisted review works with predictive coding and active learning, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Relating it to Siri or Alexa, or explaining the difference between TAR and GenAI, that's exactly where everybody is struggling right now. So the simple explanation you just gave, I think, is really going to help all of us, especially those still struggling to understand what generative AI is and how we use it.
Just to expand on what David said, these models or these algorithms are only as good as what the data is trained on. So if you look at machine learning algorithms prior to BERT and GPT, is that the training data set. And so, you had good success, you had bad success on that, depending on how you trained it. And people had trouble implementing that. But with generative AI, being able to train on the world's data set, the data set from the internet, right? Millions and trillions of data points. has uncovered something that I think initially people did not expect, which is that for some reason, these models have the ability to reason. When you typically think of machine learning algorithms, they follow a pattern or in what they've been pre-trained and apply those patterns. But to apply reasoning, and what we've discovered over time is reasoning chains. Applying those reasoning chains from the pre-trained data set and applying that to solving the problem that you presented is what I think is really exciting. And that's the part that at least we here in Altumatim are very, very interested in applying.
I think, David, you especially at the very beginning gave a great explanation of what is GenAI. And then also you just naturally went into how is it different from, traditional machine learning that on the legal side we're used to, that Netflix example you gave, suggestions, similarity, pattern recognition. But why do you guys think people should care about GenAI right now?
At a philosophical level, I think people should be aware of it and care about it because as an attorney, you really have a duty to represent your client to the best of your ability. The model rules, the ABA, there's a model rule that you have to have some technical competence as a lawyer. So at an ethical, philosophical level, I think people should care because they should do what they can to get the best possible result for their client. And Gen AI can help them get there. If it's applied right. I mean, we just talked about some of the challenges and different things that come along with using it. But if you're using it effectively, you can better represent your client. So that's one reason why they should care. The other is it's not going away. I mean, there's been a lot of hype about it, and I think a lot of people jumped on a bandwagon, which I look at as kind of a chatbot bandwagon. Everybody, oh, GenAI, I have a chatbot. But there are higher level capabilities that they're already being used, and the use cases and the abilities are going to continue to increase, that it is going to transform how a lot of things are done. And being at the front end of that is way better than trying to catch up with the train after it's left the station. So I think people should care from that standpoint also. What do you think?
No, I think just to expand on the jumping on the bandwagon, a lot of companies, a lot of people jumped on it very quickly because it seemed like a very easy thing to implement. Send a prompt, wrap it around an API, and you get results. But I think very quickly, many people in the industry and figured out that the results were not so good. It's not because the large language models were not good; they were just not applied correctly. They were not engineered correctly around it. So there's a lot more work that needs to happen to implement Gen AI into your product. So these are ongoing challenges as the models keep getting better, but every iteration of the model getting better, you have to re-engineer your product to take in all the latest features or account for the failures, so that it is more complex than initially thought when implementing Gen AI into your product.
So for me, it all comes down to volume, cost, and deadlines, right? Like there's way too many large effort and repetitive tasks that humans are doing right now that we just don't have time to do, and they cost way, way too much because of the human effort that needs to be done. And we're seeing that these tools are doing it better. Not better necessarily than humans, but I think there's an element of that. It's definitely more consistent, and consistency can be an improvement, but better than the way that we have been doing it. So things like redaction for PII, redaction for other products or third parties. Those are things that can be easily automated, easily tracked and QC'd rather than fully done by a human. First pass review, the initial categorization of what's responsive and not responsive, that can take months to, definitely weeks to months to, lots of effort to find what's responsive, but more importantly, what's not responsive, to get out the result of bad search terms or an overculling or an overcollection. So document summarization, it takes us humans forever to summarize not only a document, but a set of documents. So if you think about witness prep and depot prep, like taking 300 responsive documents and distilling it down to a summarization of what you might want to talk to somebody about takes us weeks, because we have to read the documents, we have to understand the documents, and then we have to synthesize the documents into something that's concise, which humans are not good at. I mean, just think about all the words I use to explain. This new GenAI can do it so quickly for a lot less cost as well. So we're focused on we care about these tools because our clients expect us, as David, as you said, to deliver, the best service, the best product, because we fall into that ABA regulations. We also need to be delivering. We need to be keeping abreast of new technology. We need to be delivering the best to our clients that we can. And right now, there are certain tasks that have been identified for months to over a year now that these tools are better suited for than humans.
That brought up a thought too, as when you're talking about like these repetitive tasks that take so long. Another reason to be concerned about it is work satisfaction. I mean, at our law firm, that's one of our core beliefs is that we should have a high level of work satisfaction. So I don't know too many people who went to law school to sit and slog through thousands of documents for weeks at a time. I mean, you go to law school because you want to represent clients, you want to argue motions, you want to strategize and take that deposition, not try to summarize 400,000 documents to get to the deposition. So really, even just from a work satisfaction or improving people's lives, I think law firms who are thinking strategically are thinking, how do I attract good talent and how do I keep those people happy? That keep the talented people in the firm so they grow into the leaders of the firm as opposed to burning out because they got stuck in doc review for 6 months.
I think this was great. I think this was exactly what we were hoping to do for today. So first of many series to come, this was foundational, what it is, why it's important. Going forward, I think we're going to explore some of the deeper themes that David and Vasu that you guys touched on. So hopefully people will join in for those ones too. But I think we should end this one here.
I agree. All right. It's been fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time.